hello again, and if you've never been to Painshill Park on the outskirts of London near Cobham, then you've missed an absolute treat. It's an amazing place. So here we are. You can see we're in the south west of London, and we're going to start in Brookwood or Bisley, work our way along the Canal, and then at Byfleet we're going to leave and we're going to head towards Cobham at that point, round the back of St George's Hill. A really simple route. We're not going to replay the journey along the Basingstoke Canal because we've done that in lots of previous rides. This is a little bit where we went round. We were exploring different routes at this point when you got to the end as to which would be the best way to get onto the Byfleet Road. But you can see the Byfleet Road runs horizontally there in the top right, ends up at Cobham at Painshill Park, and then on the way home we took quite an interesting route via the A3, which you can see the Portsmouth Road here running down the left hand side, and it surrounds the edge of the garden, so we're not that far away from the A3. Definitely worth a visit. If you haven't been, then you've missed an absolute treat. It is on road, so you do need to be a little bit careful on this one. There are quite a few suburban sections, but also once we get out really around the back of Weybridge and things, that Byfleet Road, Seven Hills Road type of area is quite busy. So here we are, we're just leading from home. Now this looks a bit weird because on our topographic chart it took us vertically at that point for some reason or other, but this is our little exploration, and now we're heading out along the Byfleet Road, get to Painshill Park, and then we wandered round around there and then head back along the A3. There is a cycle track to the side of the A3, and then we cut round, but we hated the town so much that we worked our way back via the Basingstoke Canal and took our normal route back. So it says a distance of about 30 miles round trip. It's about 15 miles each way. So here we are at the end of the Basingstoke Canal, and we've just worked our way out of Woking. We've headed our way along. We've now at the intersection where it meets up the River Wey, and this is the Wey Navigation, and at this point we are going to turn right and we're going to follow the Wey Navigation. Now this is the same route we would have taken if we'd gone to Wisley Gardens RHS. So we head down this bit here. Now it's quite different from the Basingstoke Canal, which has got a wonderful surface. The surface here is fairly bumpy, but at this point we're actually going to leave the river and then we head off into the town of Byfleet, and we follow this cycle path that's going along. We cross over the M25 and we're now heading along the Byfleet Road, so we're sort of parallel really, and this is a long section of road that we're going to follow all the way along. It's got this cycle path for much of it at this stage, but then we do have to cross over and actually get onto the road, but at this stage we're allowed here. So we've cut through the back of gardens, and now we just follow this road all the way almost into Cobham, but at some point we're going to have to leave it and eventually get onto beside the traffic. It is very busy, and if you've got youngsters with you, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it until you've really make sure that they're familiar with being besides busy roads. There's quite a lot here, but you know, I'm fairly confident with main roads, and quite a lot of road riding, but you can see we're sticking to the pavement most of the way just to avoid all of the traffic, and the pavement's pretty good. You don't have to wait for too many things coming and going each side, though I wouldn't necessarily recommend it at other times. Now here we go, we've left the little path and we're now just on the outskirts. Now we're cutting over the A3. Now interestingly, the gardens that you can see on the right hand side of us, those are actually Painshill Park, and you'll see this power lines and a big pylons. That actually is the edge of the park, just following the perimeter of the park. So cut over the main road again, and we're just going to turn right up here, not very far. The outskirts of Cobham, work our way in, And here we are at Painshill Park. So follow the route on our map and you'll see it's not that difficult. Now we're going to go into the gardens here. In fact, this is done on 2 trips because here we are in July, but the original filming took place in December. So we've been back since then, but we didn't record the journey. And you can see it's a fantastic place. The grounds are superb, part of a big neglected house. And here we are now, we're heading back home again, but this time we're going to head home via the A3 and you'll see the difference. So it's very easy to get to. We just cut back out and then almost at this point we're joining up with the A3 at this large roundabout up here. Now it is very busy, this is rush hour, you can see the sun is just about to set. And if you work for Surrey County Council, please get them to sort out, this is a formal cycle track alongside the A3 and it is terrible. There's bits of old road furniture dumped in here, there's trees across it, the vegetation has grown right the way across it, it's almost unnoticeable level of tarmac underneath, and you've literally got the A3 a few feet to your right. So we followed along. They're doing quite a lot of work near Bisley, putting in a new crossing. So at that point we followed down, we have to go over the top of their roadworks, and we carried following on the A3. Traffic noise really driving you mad. Lots happening here, and I think it's not far around here that we find there's a tree across our path, and we give up the route, and we were contemplating going over that little bridge there, but we carry on, deal with another fallen tree, playing hunt the path half the time. You can see it's quite dark, get past your building works, my goodness, it was terrible. I don't get the impression many cyclists use it, but at this point we left the A3, we crossed it, and now we're going to head round the side, and we're now heading back to just outside Woking and Byfleet through the urban roads. So we're really heading through, you can see here, this is through a town called Ripley on the old A3, and now we cut right, and at this point we're not far off Wisley Gardens. So we head through Purford, the back of it, that's Ripley. So we head through Ripley, and Wisley's not very far away, and we're heading towards Send and the back end of Woking. But we weren't enjoying the traffic, it's beginning to get dark. And at this point we stopped, we put on our lights. So now you can see there's a headlamp at the front there, that's on the top of my head. And we've got rear lights, and we're taking the pavement here because the cars are thrashing round. Then we cut across, not far from Wisley Gardens. Back on the outsides of West Byfleet. It's almost completely dark now, and before long we will rejoin the canal and follow our way home. So here we are rejoining the canal between West Byfleet and Maybury, and now we follow down the canal path. So this is the reverse of what you would have done on the way out. So a little bit for those of you that are not familiar with the Basingstoke Canal, it's a fabulous surface that connects that sort of junction between Byfleet and West Byfleet with Woking, and then it goes all the way out the other end towards Aldershot and Fleet, and you can actually connect right up with Odium if you wanted to. So we use this quite a lot, and most of our rides, or local rides, southeast of England rides, have the Basingstoke Canal in them. Great way to connect with London via the Wey and the Thames. So here we are heading back onto the outskirts of Woking now, and As we enter, we go over the little spirally bridge and then carry on in the semi-darkness. It looks a lot darker here than it was on the journey. Heading through the outskirts of Woking towards Horsell, and then after we get through Horsell, and although it looks too dark to actually ride, it's not too bad at all. We're then going to head back in, and we took a little shortcut out from here, and because they were doing some work on the canal and we couldn't actually get there, and we're now cutting through St John's. So we're in St John's village now because they were cutting it up, and now we're just heading our way round the back of Winston Churchill School and up towards Victoria Road. So it's a different route for getting home, but this one is all about just avoiding the traffic because we're in the middle of the rush hour. It is December and I think it's about 5:30. Yeah, we cooked it a bit late really. So here we are in the middle of Knaphill. Follow along, and our usual starting point, the Garibaldi Pub, is just coming up on the left, and there it is. So thank you for joining us. If you want to find the route that we've got, it's here on our commute page. I can't remember what we call ourselves now, Paul and Diane on the Tandem, and you'll see on the right hand side there's downloaded GPX file, but you can follow the route, you can have a look, you can replan it, look at some of the detours that we took. So I hope you enjoy the ride. Do go on a trip. It's well worth doing, and it's much better than driving, although I have to say that parking's fairly straightforward. For pensioners like ourselves, it's £10 a head to get into the garden, and definitely worth every penny. Wonderful any time between the end of May and really the end of the autumn, when the autumn colours there. So thank you for joining us, and who knows where our next ride will be. Until then, bye for now.